Hello everyone. I think we're live, maybe, probably. Um, I actually didn't fix the technical issue. Um, for some reason, the video is still squished. And if I didn't decide on the stream like an hour ago, maybe I would have had time to fix it, but I didn't. So, yeah, we'll probably live. Actually, I don't know who won the Koltira still won. Okay, let's go with that. So, is it not squished anymore? Wait a second. It isn't squished. But my preview is squished. I don't know what's going on anymore. This is streaming is too techy for me. But it looks fine. At least on my phone. Very weird. Anyways, Koltira. Death Knight was like in Sylvanus' dungeon for however many years. And yeah, I guess he's still there in IRONROTH until we get him. Which I guess this assumes someone's gonna get him, maybe. So anyways, this is kind of the design I sort of plotted for him. Most of the pieces are final-ish, I think. But I'm gonna like mess with the color scheme so it's closer to this. That's the current plan anyways. I also have Thassarian here. Don't mind the fact that he has no pants. I was just proving a point. But he will have pants. But human specific, he'll need more work on colors since everything's currently kind of mismatched. So maybe it's a good thing we start with Koltira. So yeah, let's get to it. By the way, for those who don't know and are used to just the regular WoW Model Viewer, this is WoW Model Viewer X. It's newer, but somehow buggier. But oh well, that's what we have. Yes, you do need the client to run it. You don't need to have a subscription, but you do need the client for the program to run. I don't want to give him a beard, but I guess you don't really grow facial hair when you're dead. But oh well. No, I'm not, but I read your messages from earlier. I mean, you do have a point there. So yeah, let's say he stole the goatee from some guy. That makes sense to me. Of course. A shining example of WoW model viewer access problems. Eh. Oh well, I was expecting this already. Let's this. And let's go to WoW model. In that sense, you are correct. There are definitely way too many Tales of IRONROTH. I think we're like working on 6 right now. So well, now that Bond Remembrance is out, I think we're back to 5. But yeah, lots of shit going on. Unless stated otherwise in the descriptions, you can generally assume that I made the models. I mean, WoW Model Viewer will be obsolete very soon. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the updates from WoW Export, but soon enough it'll basically eclipse the usefulness of a WoW Model Viewer. Like, the UI is still a bit strange and more time consuming, but it's just a matter of time. I don't know just yet if I want a cape, but I'll take I'll take the model just. I think this is everything. I thought capes were cool, but I barely use them anymore. They aren't cool anymore. Cloaks are what's cool now. I mean, the story pretty much assumes it by itself. Focusing areas, more mana bombs, and mana bombs are useful regardless if you use them or not. It's a deterrence mechanism, kind of like the big cannon that he apparently has control of. Will it explode half of Kalimdor if they try to use it? Maybe, but it scares people, and that's what matters. Yes, the lack of FBX export is kind of a pain, even if you can kind of cheese it a little bit with Blender, but I hate Blender, so I'd really rather not go to Blender for any reason whatsoever, but oh well. And yeah, in-game customization is well, kind of like that. That's the joy of me not playing WoW anymore, so I can just do whatever with my characters, so yay, I guess. Ah, I realized I forgot about this sword. Wonderful. But yeah, if they implemented FBX exporting, I'd never have to touch a buggy WoW model viewer of any kind, and that would be a net positive in general. Because even with the Blender trick, I have trouble exporting the model in a way where I can edit it freely, because I don't know if you've messed around with it a lot, but when you get the models from WoW export, like they come broken in parts. and that's not super useful to like edit the mesh and whatnot. I mean, probably, yeah. It looked like the current Koltira to some extent. But if I'm being honest, I feel like my computer would probably explode if I tried to import the new Koltira. So yeah, that's kind of... Sometimes there's like meta reasons like that why we don't do certain things. Like, I recall someone commenting like a big while ago that the battles don't feel big enough. And I 100% agree, but like, it's either that or like you have one episode every decade. And at least personally, a lot of people like in the hobby space are like, oh, you should like improve to be the best possible person at what you do, but at least to me personally, it's about reaching a point where I'm satisfied at the pace I'm making things. Because if I take a long time at doing something, I'll lose motivation and drop it completely. So it's kind of a balance that I personally have to find. Scale? Hmm. I'm I'm not super sure if I've had scale problems now that I think. I'd have to look at it again because I've only like for actual episodes I've only used it for like NPC models like dragons and whatnot, so I'm not super sure like how. Um, what gave me the the idea for Lyris as the Death Knight? Good question. It was basically because there were too many men in our original Death Knight roster. So it was essentially between her because it's an interesting choice given Sylvanas is a relatively important character. Varys is still around somewhere and whatnot. And the other one we had for the spot was Agewin. But I think I said at the time that if she became a horseman, she'd just solo everyone, and all of IRONROTH's problems would be like solved in a night. So we couldn't choose her for that reason alone. And I guess she also gives us more freedom because Larissa isn't really a character. She's a plot point in someone else's story. In the like 4 mentions she's ever had, she has like 4 conflicting deaths that don't line up at all. So I don't know, it gives us some wiggle room, while the others are like very established characters. So generally, when I have like a whole model to recolor to some extent, I like to start with the shoulders because generally they're like the most apparent part of a model, and wow, oversized shoulder pads, the story. So to me, it always makes sense to use them as a sort of baseline for what we're doing. I think I might be wrong, but I think Saurfang, like from the start, was always meant to be a horseman because simply for the reason that we essentially swapped Nazgrim and Saurfang. Nazgrim didn't die at the siege, Saurfang did. So, at least in that sense, it made sense to kind of parallel both those stories. Not really, he's not really forming the horseman for Garrosh. He has more important things to do. Yeah, I wonder what they were doing there. Yeah. Kairos is something we want to address at some point, but we kind of don't want to derail the plot too much with him, so the next time he shows up will probably be in audio drama format, just because it messes less with the general plotline, and I guess that's kind of the point of the audio dramas. Wackier things, and things that in general kind of make the world feel a little more real in general. Okay, I think this is the vibe. Actually, let me try. Might look a little goofy, but let's try it. Kind of works it. It's actually, let me open our model. That is not her face. It's mask. Whoops, that is kind of fucked up right now, but this is a mask. That's not her actual. And it's more so like a bit of a twisted reference to the Forsaken emblem than to Illyria itself. Now for the body, I kind of want to keep the red because Koltira and Thassarian are quite literally the Horde that night and the Alliance that night, so I think I might want to keep the red. Let's see how it looks. Because Zul'jin is cool and he's pretty strong. I think that's reason enough, right? And in a more meta sense, the trolls kinda need the W's. Oh yeah, for sure. I'll definitely need to be messing with like the particular shade, but I'm leaving that for the last time. First, I want to get the like base color of the armor to the right place. Oh god, why is this border so pixelated? This is actually offending me. He's getting a scar. I'm sure this is all very interesting, me masking textures, which is actually super boring, but part of the job. Someone is looking for a job exclusively masking textures, and that they're paid with I don't know, like a pat on the back or something. Please call my office. Civilian will actually have a minor role very soon. Nothing like substantial or anything. He will show up, yeah. I think Kono especially has some bigger plans for him. As it currently stands, his next appearance is more of a cameo than anything. But he'll get his time in the spotlight eventually. Hey Nox, welcome to the very huh. Not terribly interesting as I was saying, but I'm doing things. So I guess that's something. And I'm kind of lost now. Yes, Kono's working on the series, of course. Sabellian is here. The context where he'll show up is kind of the interesting bit. If our plans go through, it might be part of like some plans we have regarding the adventures of Rathian and Anduin. Maybe he'll show. Hopefully. I'm not sure what you're asking with news OCs. No, that spooky necromancer has nothing to do with me, okay? He's evil and he steals people's eyes, and he's not my dad. Grandpa, I mean. Or contract. You know, it's kind of funny that me, the Alliance Paladin, was the one who very obviously outlined that the Alliance is extremely shattered, like in the present of IRONROTH, so you don't have to blame the orc, blame the human paladin, okay? But I think personally, and the way I kind of pitched it that way is because, and I think that's kind of the thing about the Horde, is that I see the Alliance as like a traditional alliance, kind of, while Thrall's Horde reads as a family. Does that make sense? I think this is good enough if we had like a scarf and the differences in contrast. Um, let's hide this for. Okay. Okay. I think we're onto something here. I mean, yeah, as Tyranor said, you know, just keep the dome up. Everything will be okay. There's no demons knocking around. Not yet, so, you know, might as well ignore Garrosh. Okay, and ironically, I want to use part of Erator's clothing for everyone's favorite character, Madan, so I can't use him here. And his robe. Erator's robe will probably be a pain to weight paint since it's actually 3D and not 2D. No frog symbolism. But who knows? Maybe? I mean, given the ephemeral orb is canonish, I suppose he would have been a frog for a bit. As weird as that sounds. I mean, does he even know the Eye of Amanthul is there? I'm not sure we can. Look, I wanna have Madan in Ironroth, unironically. People will hate me for it, but I want him in there. I'm not saying it will happen, but I want it to happen. Because I just think it would be so funny. Okay. I like what we're working with. And you know what the worst part is, Nox? I'm probably gonna ask you for help in making like those random triangles he has in his head or whatever. So either you hand in your resignation letter or yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Nox doesn't like orcs anymore. I can't believe this. Wait, do I even need to do this? Yes, I can see. Negotiate. I'm all ears. like the idea of how we portray Anduin post Siege of Stormwind is very much inspired where he's after post Shadowlands, where he's kind of like, oh, I kinda don't want to deal with all this, and he kinda goes off on an adventure to find himself. As Weight of the Crown kind of proposes that idea. That's why I sort of mentioned, beyond just the appearance of Oberon Ilarion for the first time, it kind of introduces that idea as well. And also that Rathian didn't show up out of nowhere. That is, it's probably been around somewhat ever since that episode, which I'd say happened like a couple months for the Age of Stormwind, maybe. Did it destroy Varian's tomb? Since we didn't show it, I'd rather not say either way because we might wanna make a choice regarding that at some. Oh. I mean, yeah, but one thing is saying, oh, I like fighting with Varian, and another is having a memorial to him, but I don't know. I don't think we'll address that, but why not leave it vague? This would probably be way easier if I had a drawing tab. Because doing this with a mouse is actually torture. And it's funny that you can see like the difference in resolution between the gloves, the boots, and everything else. Because in Dragonflight they essentially doubled the resolution of armor textures. So if you look at the gloves, they're like super pixelated and blurry, while the chest plate is way more clear. The the intent behind the last scene is to kind of just present the fact that there is like organized resistance against Garrosh. Because earlier in the episode, you even have Commander Taylor mentioning that they have very little supplies to spare to the cells, the resistance cells, and in the Eastern Kingdoms. There's that. Mm, when slash if I suppose he shows up, it'll probably mostly be her midnight look, maybe with an adjustment here or there, but in general, it'll probably be her look for midnight. Okay, purple gloves look a little funny. Call it that. The brownie. But funnily enough, regarding that group, in the episode outline I made, I just kind of had that last scene as labeled like test resistance group something something whatever. So it was up to Kaiser, one of our writers, to kind of come up with this very strange, bizarre group of people to kind of tease us with. Oh yeah, for sure, but you also have to consider that Garrosh is fucking up Azeroth. And I think something as big as Garrosh taking over Stormwind would probably have created a schism, kind of like the one we see in Dragonflight, where there's like this half of the Defias that's in it for the quote-unquote wrong reasons, and this other half that's on Vanessa's side that's in there for the, again, quote-unquote right reasons. So sure. Which test model? There's three. The there's the MOP through year 5 model, there's the resistance leader test, and there's Worgen test. Anyways, I think for the body we're pretty much. Actually, never mind. We need to make the start. Okay. So now, grab this. Do you mean like even the greave itself here? I think this is like very clearly metal. That's why I kept it purple, and I made the glove section like a blackish brown. When the steed. Sure. Let me quickly grab it then. Maybe it's here. This, this. This. Top. There you go. This is like pre/mid time skip test. I mean, we can give it a try, see how it looks. I think I see what you mean. I think we can. And you know what might is if we somehow managed to bigger. This tool is not like super perfect, but it can be extremely useful. And then we blur it a little bit. And ta-da! Shawl, cape. I'm not really sure what you mean here. Like if you mean this, I'm actually gonna remove it. Oh, yeah, it's very nice. It's from the Nightborn civilians, I think. Yeah, from them. And her like gauntlet things are as well. Nightborn civilians have like some really good clothing. And you were right, the brown does work better. I mean, without Zalatath to fuck things up, uh, the Nerubians are kind of in decline by themselves, so they're not super relevant to what's going on. No. Close enough. Oh, like the undead Nerubians? Um, I don't think there's enough of them to pose a threat by themselves. And I guess, while a part of them would be free, I guess another part would probably still be bound to the Lich King in some form. I mean, there will eventually be 6 episodes. But if you're asking if there will only be 6 episodes, no. How many episodes will there be? I don't know. Many. If that is the case, I am admittedly not super familiar with that. I know Kono is a big Nerubian fan, so maybe he'll know about that. Episode 5 will be dwarves, probably. And again, take my word with a grain of salt, because not even episode 4 is written. That's just the idea for now. Oh, the Island Expedition ones. Yeah, I know about those. I thought you meant like older established ones. I actually didn't know they had a queen, but I recall that there were some like island expedition leaving Nerubians. I mean, that is a current plan that the rebels have, so it'll happen eventually. Hmm. The gray. Does she know what Kerosh has been doing? That is maybe like probably not the details, but like I'm sure news travels, so she probably know he's doing generally evil things. I actually want her to show up as well at some point. Um, it's actually another of the stories I've pitched myself. I mean, yeah, but that's kind of an issue I have with WoW, is that, like, not everyone needs to be in a faction. If you're off in your own islands, underground, are you really about to throw your lives away in a war that you're barely connected with? Not really. At least not in my opinion. And again, in a more meta sense, I don't think adding Nerubians into this whole war is all that fitting. I mean, it's a because I want her to appear because I think it could be interesting, because we have a vague idea of how she feels about Garrosh, but we really have no idea how Garrosh feels about her. And I think that could be interesting to at least address in some shape or form. At least that's part of my interest, to bring up that story. Um, yeah. Look at him, all color man. Now we can bring this back with it. Hopefully him and Tyrion won't cross paths and notice they're wearing the same pants. And again, as I've mentioned before, a lot of, like, not all, but like, let's say 60% of the audio dramas we actually do depend entirely on what people want to write, and not necessarily um, what I want them to. Which is kind of the point of IRONROTH. It's like for everyone involved to kind of share their creative vision and tell the stories they want to tell. Of course, within the general vision of IRONROTH, but that's kind of the point. And that's how we end up with a 2.5 hour long audio drama that is absolutely crazy. And each time I read the snippet of it, I'm like mind blown as to like, whoa, this is actually happening. It's actually crazy. I'm I'm actually very excited to eventually release that because again, it's absolutely nuts. Actually, should I reveal the title? Should I reveal the main character? Is the writer still in the chat? Do they want to reveal themselves? Well, if not, I'll think about it. Well, okay then. Exclusive scoop for those that appeared on the stream. The 2.5 hour, probably, or I don't know, it'll be very long, that's the point. Audio drama is called. I mean, we haven't decided on a name, but it's between these two. It's either gonna be The Siege of Shadrath City or The Fate of Shadrath City. And the main character is Main Universe URL. Oh, hey, Box. You just missed the big reveal, maybe, probably. I don't know if you heard that bit, but I can repeat it for you if you haven't. Because, well, I guess the people are spewing it already, so. Well, but that's not the name. It's either the Fate or the Siege, not the Fall. Take that as you will. And it's gonna be that long because it doesn't deal with the Siege exclusively and actually deals with some of our very own ERL backstories. A lot of interesting stuff there that I'm actually very excited for because I'm also finding out for the first time. Uh, I don't particularly buy into that. In lots of cultures, you call aunt and uncle to people who aren't your aunt slash uncle. For example, you call your friend's parents aunt and uncle, for example. So I don't think that's really the implication there. I think Urel is just Urel, whatever that means. I don't think she really has like any special birthright or whatever, I think. She's just a person. You know, not to bring it to one of the most toxic fandoms out there, but this kind of reminds me of the whole Rey Skywalker, Rey Palpatine business. Like, she doesn't need to be related to a popular person to be like a relevant character. She can just be her own character, and that's okay. Box, Garrosh will actually suplex Kill Jaden in episode 93. So you can look forward to that. But you'll actually have to pay like an additional fee to watch that scene. Just for you. Little dog. Now you need to learn to edit their faces. That's the funnest part. Funnest? It's the most fun part for me, at least, because that's exactly where you can make your characters unique. I'll go back to Tess because in game you can't have a nose like this. Only Tess in IRONROTH will have it like that, you know? So by editing the characters' faces and bodies, that's where you like truly achieve the uniqueness in a character. But I guess in her case, it's a little harder because I assume you'll still have like regular 2D sections, so I guess that might make it a yeah. Looking, it's looking kind of fire, honestly. Kono, I sent like my drafts to Kono earlier for like the transmogs, and he complained about like the Bastion armor pieces, and yeah, was he wrong? Nothing? I think so. I think he said it on Blue Sky a couple of times that we more often clash on design differences than we clash on story differences. And I think that is pretty funny. And maybe they do. Maybe they do have hobbies. But they're so good at disguising themselves that you simply don't know that the Potter next door is actually a green dragon or whatever. Don't do this. And B. That. Huh, his ass feels a little naked, but oh well. Now the belt will probably be the hardest bit because it doesn't have two colors by default. But we'll see what we can. Yeah, I think like Shadowlands had a bit of like a crisis of identity where their style went a little different from what was before and what came after. Um, Especially in some models like Thrall and Luther, the way they're painted is completely different to anything else. And it's super strange. I mean, like in general, I love Shadowlands armor, but sometimes there's some iffy things in there. Okay, now I have to look at. Not sure a purple skull will look great. But inverting the scheme will probably be a little strange. Let's see. Let's try it. Let me see. What expansion is that from? Or am I writing the name wrong? Oh, I did. Or not? Rune? No, it's too old. I refuse to use any armor from before Mists of Pandaria. And even Mists of Pandaria, shoulder pads at most. I mean, heroic or not doesn't really change the fact that it's old armor and it offends me personally. But I get what you mean, the colors almost match, but it's not the vibe. I actually think this is... No, it isn't. But I think it might be one of the belts he has worn. Or not. No, it's a similar one. Never mind. And to answer your question, that remains to be seen. They are in a special position where they're far away. So that's a position they use. Will they rejoin their respective or opposite factions? Stay tuned, I suppose. It's honestly not nearly as offensive as I thought it would be. It kind of looks good. I guess we could like desaturate it a little bit, but I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks pretty decent actually. Let's desaturate it a little more. And let's delete that. Oh. Oh. That's really easily. There we go. I think that works, honestly. Black Rook Elite Waist. I think it kind of has the same problem. These big belts kind of have let that like texture also show up underneath, which is pretty stinky. And I'd rather like not have two different body textures if I can avoid. And I think like more designed 3D belts like that work well with these like 3D leg skirty bits, whatever it's called. I mean, for your EU, I'm not really sure of the context, but at least in my personal vision, elves can stand on their own, honestly. They only really joined the Horde out of necessity, so if there's no necessity in the first place or something happened that kind of puts that in jeopardy, I guess that could happen. Yeah, the dragon aspect is again one of those big concepts that we have to tackle somewhat carefully. We kind of had that sort of introduced a bit via Karigoza, but in that case, it's kind of somewhat clear that she's acting by herself. She even mentions that she stole the focusing areas. So I guess I would assume that even within the dragon flights themselves, there's conflicts as to what's the best next step. Regarding that bit about having a blue dragon captured was something that the writer caught on. That I'm not sure where it's mentioned that the focusing areas does need um, the blood of Maligos or one of his brood to actually work properly. So that plot point was kind of cemented within the context of IRONROTH. The child of Maligos has been captured, or had been ever since, well, the mana bomb was made essentially, so yeah. No, it's not Caligos or Senegos, it's probably gonna be an OC by virtue of like most of Maligos' children being dead. Yeah, he's looking pretty nice. I'm actually surprised myself. Shame Kono isn't here so he can see that we can use Bastion armor pieces for Death Knights. But oh well. We'll live on. Sure, I just mean that Senegos wasn't said um dragon that Perigosa was talking about. Will Senegos ever appear? I don't know. I guess there's no plans for now, but IRONROTH is a big place. I mean, the Forsaken are in kind of similar position to the Blood Elves. They kind of have a good hiding spot. There we go. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think he needs a cape, honestly. I think it hurts to look. Look at him. Beautiful. He's... And let stay with the model it's... I mean, I kind of did forget to give him one. And this... It looks really funny without pants. But yeah, I should probably give him a cape, because it doesn't have as much going on down here as Koltira does. So I think it's a good addition. Yeah, aside from his sword is pretty much done. So let's just do the sword. Okay. Shouldn't be too crazy on edit. First, we're gonna make red. To match clothes. God, this sword has a lot going on. It's easier if... Let me try one. Should be close enough. And now... it. And there we go. It's because I don't like MMOs. That's really kind of it. It's not particularly because I don't like the story, because I enjoy the world within in general. It's really just because I don't really care for MMOs, and but I do enjoy the world. I do enjoy the story. So yeah, I do videos. That's kind of my way to express my love for Warcraft in general. And there we go. That's Koltira. I'm honestly shocked at how good he ended up looking, because the other day I was like legitimately blanking at what I would do for him. But, I think this is both familiar but also new, which I guess that's kind of what I was going for, so I'm glad it lined up like that. So yeah, unless anyone has any closing questions, I believe this will be today's stream, and maybe I'll do Thassarian in my own time. Maybe I'll make another stream like in a couple days. Um, we'll see. Oh, and just to specify, I don't mean that the game is trash. I don't care for MMOs in general. It's not a WoW thing. For a long time, I also played the Star Wars: The Old Republic, but again, I didn't like the gameplay that much. I just played it for the story, and that's kind of what I did to WoW for a bit. But like, just to quest, a monthly subscription isn't really worth it for me. I'd rather like, I don't know, spend that money in buying like a new WoW book or something. Well, while we wait to close up, I'll get a picture to post on Blue Sky. Which is where you should follow me, because my Twitter is dead and has been for a good while. That is rude. There we go. Not? Come on. Okay, that's done. Anyways, that's it for today. We made Koltira. He looks very nice, and yeah, I hope you stick around for more streams eventually when I feel like it. And for